Hey guys, welcome back to PAC Talk with Blvd. Um, this is kind of a follow-up podcast to the supplement podcast we did a couple of weeks back. I promised you guys I would talk a little bit more about rest, recovery, and most importantly, sleep and supplements that can help with sleep and rest and recovery. So I want to go into that today, and I want to start by talking about sleep, and then I'll go into the supplements a little bit later that I think will help you guys or can help you guys. This is something that I've experimented with a lot over the years. Historically, I haven't been a great sleeper. I've had periods in my life where I've been good and periods in my life when I've been bad. And there have been kind of key indicators that have contributed towards that. One of them, of course, being kids, which if you're a parent, you know, kind of changes everything and disrupts everything. And it's really frustrating sometimes when you listen to people talk and you listen to podcasts or you read magazines and they'll talk about, oh, you should get 8 hours a night and it should be this and it should be that. It's like, yeah, that's all good and well, but I got a kid that wakes me up 3 times a night. Like, how do I do this? So I do want to go into that. I want to talk about how I deal with that and how I've kind of like, as much as I can, set myself up for success in some capacity, with the understanding that it's never ideal, it's never easy. You're always kind of like battling something, and you're just trying to create the best environment possible that can help. I'm not saying I have the solution. I'm not saying I sleep every night perfectly unbroken. That just doesn't happen. But I've managed to kind of deal with it, cope with it, and I live a pretty active life. My training volume is high. The stuff I get done in a day is pretty. I get a good amount of stuff done. I'm juggling a lot of things, dealing with a lot of things. So these are just things that have helped me. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so you can take what I say with a grain of salt. But I just want to be honest with you guys, and just let you guys know what I have found have helped me and what might help you. Um, Now, with sleep, most of us know by this stage the importance of sleep, and just what a huge factor it is, not only in working out, but just in living our lives to the best of our ability. We all know that feeling of having not slept and not slept enough. You kind of feel obviously drained, somewhat confused, somewhat fuzzy. You tend to make bad decisions, or you tend to be overly emotional. Your kind of rationale goes out the window. Workouts, of course, suffer because you don't have the energy to get them done, and you're kind of on borrowed time. It feels like you're just kind of like, either taking in a lot of caffeine or a lot of pre-workouts or anything just to kind of get you through the day or through the workout because you haven't slept enough. So setting ourselves up for a good night's sleep is really important. And the kind of older you get, the more mature you get, the more you kind of come to terms with this, and you realize that you can't stay up till 2 a.m. watching TV or going out with your friends or whatever it is, because you just can't recover enough. It was different when you were in your teens or when you were in your early 20s. You could kind of like get away with it, but certainly as we get a little bit older, we can't do it anymore. So, I make a very good point. Almost that drives my wife insane. That I kind of have to be in bed by 9, and sometimes if I can 8:30. And that's difficult because we lead busy lives. We have 2 kids. By the time we got the kids to bed, it's often 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock, which doesn't leave much time for just some you time. But I've learned that the juice is not worth the squeeze, and like staying up till 10:30 just to get some extra time to myself, because I will suffer for it the next day and I'll feel like crap. Because I do like to get up early. I do like to get up at 5. Sometimes it's out of necessity. Sometimes I'll get up 4 if I'm teaching at 5. Sometimes I'll get up at 5 if I'm not working till a little bit later. But 4 a.m., 5 a.m., that's my usual get up time. So if I know that's going to happen, I know I have to be in bed by 8:39 to get anywhere near the amount of sleep that I need to recover. Now, in an ideal world, that is going to be 8 hours. Like I said, I do have 2 kids. They do often wake up in the night. I do often have to like take them to potty or deal with whatever it is, or get them water or whatever it is that they're asking for. So it's not always unbroken. It's not always ideal, but I just try and set myself up for success as much as I can by getting to bed early and trying to get in as much sleep as I can. Sometimes I just think to myself, well, if I can just get 3 hours before one of them wakes up, then at least I've gotten something in the bank. And that's honestly what it is. Like, how much can I get in the bank before I get disturbed, and how much can I get back in the bank after I've been disturbed, to optimize my sleep. And that's, like I said, that's the way it goes. I make sure I'm kind of like, me and my wife, we do like to, watch something or have a little bit of time together on our own after we've got the kids to bed. I know a lot of you guys are going to be in the same situation. But like I said, it's just not worth staying up till the early hours of the morning just to get some extra time, because you will suffer it the next day. So the importance of sleep, like I said, a big part of it for me is the cognitive side of things. Like, I like to feel clear. I like to think I'm making good decisions. I know that if I don't sleep enough, I'm not going to make good decisions. I'm going to make bad decisions. I'm going to be impulsive. I'm going to be I'm kind of like hanging on by a thread and just trying to get through the day, rather than being like productive and being thoughtful and making good decisions. So the cognitive side of it is really important to me, and you will find that your brain will recover a lot better if you get a good night's sleep. As well as that, of course, we have our tissue recovery. When we sleep is really when we recover, and when we grow. We don't really grow while we're working out. We may get a pump and it feels like growth, but our true growth and our true recovery happens when we sleep. If we have a high training frequency, if we like to train every day or 5 or 6 days a week, we need to make sure that our tissues and our muscles are recovering adequately in order to perform. And that comes by way of sleep, of course. And again, you will find that you can kind of get away with it with one bad night's sleep, but 2 bad nights sleep, 3 bad nights sleep, the accumulation of that means that your quality of training, and again, the quality of your life, will start to decline. You will be sore for longer because you won't be recovering. You'll be fatigued. Performance in the gym will go down. And you just won't be up for it. You just won't be up for the kind of activity that you're normally up for if you do sleep well. So both cognitive stuff and muscle tissue recovery, both essential. As well as that, of course, we have our hormonal side of things, creating that hormonal balance. Sleep is essential for that. I've talked about it before, how when you sleep is when you release the most of your testosterone, most of your growth hormone, which are, primary recovery and growth hormones. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough sleep for that to happen, to create that good, successful hormonal environment. Most of you guys know by now that, whether it's fat loss, muscle gain, all that stuff is heavily dictated by our hormones and our hormone levels. Especially as we age, certain hormonal levels start to decline, like testosterone, and we want to keep them as high as we possibly can. And getting adequate sleep is going to be essential if we want that to happen. You are going to really struggle with balancing your hormones if you're staying up till 1 a.m. watching the Desperate Housewives of wherever and eating chips. You're gonna create a bad hormonal environment, and you're going to be playing a losing game. So do yourself a favor and try and get to bed early. Try and create a successful environment by making sure you're in a dark space, no artificial light, no sound as much as possible. Use earplugs if you have to. I'm very fortunate in Idlewild that it's very quiet. There's no traffic. There's no noise. If you live in a city, if you live in LA or any other city, and with a lot of traffic and a lot of noise, might be worth investing in a pair of earplugs, because you want it to be dark and you want it to be quiet. Again, you want to create the kind of environment that's going to optimize your sleep ability. And another big one, obviously, is also mood. Like, you're in a much better mood when you sleep well. You're in a much worse mood when you sleep badly. When you don't sleep well, you might have violent mood swings. You might feel angry. You might get stressed more easily. I know that I do. I know if I've had a bad night's sleep, I'll lose my temper more quickly with my kids, which I hate doing. It's not their fault. It's my fault. Well, sometimes it's their fault. But I hate being in that state. So that's, again, a big part of it. So we want to be in a good mood. We want to be in a good mood. We want to feel recovered. We want to have energy. We want to feel, again, like we're making good decisions, that we're putting a good foot forward. And, like I said, sleep and optimizing our sleep, setting ourselves up for success for sleep is going to help with all those things. We talked about performance in the gym. We talked about judgment. Reaction times and reduction of injury is another big one. We are more prone to injury when we don't sleep well. That can be something as simple as tripping and falling, or it could be something in the gym where we're performing an exercise. We're more likely to get injured if we are not recovered. So again, preventing injury is a big one when it comes to getting adequate sleep. We want to be alert. We want to be feel like we're on the ball and able to deal with situations in a like I said, in a sensible way, and not in a completely reactionary emotional way. So yeah, get enough sleep and all these things will be better. Now, when it comes to helping with sleep, because everything I'm talking about is that's all good and well, but I really struggle to get to sleep. And especially in today's society, when most people have a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of noise just around us in our brains, on social media, all this stuff. I know a lot of us get into bed at night and our heads are just kind of spinning with stuff. Even if we're tired, we might feel really tired, really exhausted, but our heads and our minds are just spinning. So there are 3 supplements I'm going to recommend to you guys today. There are other supplements that will definitely help, but these are the 3 that I kind of like have narrowed down in my time that I found have really helped me. And I'm going to put these together for you guys in a kind of like package at Pharos, like a stack, a sleep stack. Because I really do think these things help most people. And most people that I've recommended this stack to, they've got back to me and said it was a game changer. It really helped. So I'll tell you what they all are and what the overall effect is. And then you guys can make your own decisions. You can do your own research and see if you want to go down that road and see if it will help you. The first is inositol. And I remember being recommended this supplement way back in the day on the Poliquin Biosignature course. And originally, it was one of those supplements that was recommended to people that are stressed and anxious. And angry is the wrong word, but it can be somewhat like volatile or reactionary when it comes to dealing with things, and maybe not being calm and collected and dealing with things rationally. So initially it was kind of for that, but of course, reducing anxiety, reducing stress, reducing that kind of like pent up angst and anger inside of you will help with sleep. Inositol is found naturally in fruits and in some grains and in some nuts. It's a natural thing. It's not an artificial drug of any kind. It plays a role in various physiological processes, including neuromuscular neurotransmitter signaling. Again, it helps. It potentially helps reduce anxiety and depression, and I have found that kind of the combination of this with the other 2 things that I'm talking about, which is going to be magnesium glycinate and L-Theanine, are the other 2 things I'm going to talk about. The combination of those things have really, really helped me relax, help me feel less anxious in bed, help that kind of like busy brain to kind of just switch off. I wouldn't say I'm prone to depression. I guess I could argue that sometimes I feel like, a sadness that comes from stress. But inositol has certainly helped me not feel like that kind of stressed anger that I do feel like I'm susceptible sometimes. The next one, magnesium glycinate. I have tried a bunch of different magnesiums over the years, and I've basically settled on magnesium glycinate as being the most effective one for me. And again, a lot of the words I'm going to say are going to be similar to the inositol. It helps you relax. It makes you feel more relaxed. It makes you feel a sense of calm. It regulates GABA. Again, it's a neurotransmitter that is responsible for calming the nervous system. It helps, again, with relaxation and reducing anxiety. Again, some of these words are going to be exactly the same. It helps regulate the release of melatonin, which of course regulates our sleep pattern when we fall asleep, when we wake up. Now, of course, we can take artificial melatonin. You'll find a lot of supplements do have artificial melatonin in them. The problem with that is if you take it too consistently, you'll stop producing natural melatonin. So I would be cautious of that. I'd be cautious of taking melatonin all the time. You'll find a lot of people take it after flights when their sleep gets disrupted. Maybe they've got jet lag. They might supplement with melatonin for a while, but taking it on a consistent basis can be problematic. So you want to try and create an environment where you're releasing as much natural melatonin as you can, and taking magnesium glycinate will help with that. The magnesium will also help recover from workouts. It helps relax the muscles, and of course, you know, the more we work out, the more stress we have in our muscles, the more potential muscle soreness we have. Magnesium will help relax and thus help restore, as you rest, as you sleep. And again, no downside to taking magnesium, no downside to taking any of these things. If you do take too much magnesium, you may have some kind of bowel movement. So just be careful of taking too much of it. But if you're just taking a couple of magnesium glycinate pills before bed, you'll be absolutely fine. The third one is L-Theanine. Again, L-Theanine, it's a natural thing. It's primarily found in tea leaves. And again, we're talking about stress reduction here. We're talking about the promotion of relaxation. It helps calm the mind without causing drowsiness. So, there's other stuff out there and other medicated stuff that will make you feel drowsy. This does not do that, but it does promote calmness. It does it by increasing the production of alpha waves in the brain, which are associated with a state of relaxation. So it does have a very kind of active process. It's really, really doing something. It also helps with focus and concentration and mental clarity. It also increases levels of dopamine and serotonin, which creates calmness, happiness, and overall sense of well-being. You guys have all heard about dopamine and serotonin before. We're always looking to release those because that is what creates that feeling of happiness. So obviously we want to do that as much as possible. And like I said, the combination of these three things, I know a lot of these words are the same. I'm talking about calmness. I'm talking about reduction in stress. I'm talking about feelings of happiness. I'm talking about muscle relaxation and being able to recover. Like all of these things are doing that, which will, of course, will help create better sleep and help us, have a more productive day by virtue of having a better night's sleep. The other one thing I wanted to say about L-Theanine is that it contains antioxidants, which of course help protect cells from damage, which are caused by free radicals. We know this. We know this about antioxidants, and the L-Theanine is a good one for that as well. So again, no downside to taking L-Theanine. It's a great product, a natural product, and one that, again, I found has helped me tremendously, especially in the last year. I think I'm not alone in, talking about the volume of stress that we have, the volume of anxiety that we have. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. Obviously, for myself, I can speak for myself with, you're trying to juggle a lot of things. You want to run a successful business. You want to be a good dad. You want to be a good husband. You want to be good to people. You want to, project a good, personality and a good character. And without good sleep and without feeling rested, that gets really, really hard. It gets really, really hard to not be reactionary, not seem pissed off all the time and upset all the time, because it's very easy to get in that state. And, one thing's for sure, it's never going to be plain sailing. There's always going to be stuff that comes up. Nothing's ever going to be ideal. And so we have to just take as many advantages as we can. And me taking this kind of stuff, it's not trying to be perfect. It's just trying to give myself as much of an advantage as I possibly can to have as productive of a life as I can. And that really is, key for me. I want to be as productive as I can be. I want to do as much good work as I can. I want to put as much good stuff out into the universe as I can. And these three things, the L-Theanine, the magnesium glycinate, and the inositol, taking those three things together really does help me with that. And like I said, I'm going to put that together in a stack at Pharos Athletic Club that you guys can try. And, maybe just one of them, maybe just two of them, maybe all three of them, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to experiment with. It really does help. Always better to start with the natural route as opposed to any kind of medication or prescribed drug. Always try and go the natural route first. Create that environment for yourself and give yourself every advantage to give yourself a good night's sleep. So that's my three kind of supplement recommendations and how I deal with the sleep situation. Like I said, my sleep's often interrupted by the kids. It's never an ideal thing, but this is everything that I do to optimize. Now, the other stuff I want to just briefly touch on today in terms of recovery, relaxation, and restoration is hot cold therapy, which I know is kind of a watchword right now. Everybody's doing ice baths. If you scroll through Instagram, I'm sure it's full of people doing ice baths. You're probably getting hit up with companies selling ice baths and so forth, saunas as well. But the data is out there now. There's been a ton of research in recent years. There's been some really, positive voices coming through. People like Peter Attia, people like Andrew Huberman. A lot of them are talking about the data behind hot cold therapy and why they are so effective. Let's start with ice first of all. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of ice baths. I've been doing it for a while. I didn't spend a lot of money on it. In the winter in Idlewild, where I live, fortunately, it's cold enough that the temperature of the water will be 38 degrees or less, no matter what. So I can sometimes just leave a tub outside. And then I just bought I did buy a cool pod. I think it's called the Arctic pod. And it just cools the water when I need it. And it was, less than $1,000. I think it was like $150 for the tub and $500, $400 for the pod. So I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but it does really help. It helps by, vasoconstricting the blood vessels, which helps with inflammation, helps reduce inflammation after I work out. It helps when you vasoconstrict, when you're in that cold environment and everything constricts. As you warm up naturally, all that fresh blood that comes back in brings fresh oxygen, fresh nutrients, and which really helps with muscle recovery. So it's not just about the time that you're in the ice, which is very valuable. It's about what happens when you start to kind of warm up naturally after that, and the fresh oxygen, the fresh nutrients, fresh nutrients that it brings to help with that muscle recovery. We're talking about circulation. We're talking about that rush of blood to the muscles. You'll feel that kind of rush of blood coming back into the muscles after the ice bath. And again, really helps with muscle recovery, especially if you have a real high training frequency. If you are training every day, sometimes you guys, if you're training multiple times a day to help recover between events, it can be very helpful. If you look at what Peter Attia is talking about, he talks a lot about the shock of the cold, what that shock does, and the rush of endorphins that comes from that shock. Similar to the rush of endorphins that you get, say, after a run, the shock proteins that you get from the ice bath will help release endorphins, which again create this sensation of good mood, of happiness, which we talked about with sleep, which we want as much of as we possibly can. And promotes again that feeling of kind of mental clarity. If you guys have done it, you'll know that feeling when you get out, that kind of rush. You feel clear, you feel very awake, you feel very aware, and it feels like you've done your body a lot of good. It's one of those things where you feel terrible while you're in it, and you're like, "What am I doing?" But when you get out and you feel the benefit afterwards, you get you get addicted pretty quickly. He also suggests that the ice baths activate brown adipose tissue, which can help with burning calories, so burning extra calories, and improving insulin sensitivity, which of course we're always trying to do. We want to be as sensitive to carbohydrates as we possibly can be, so that we process them well and use them for movement and use them for activity and don't store them as fat. So again, there's kind of the mental side of things, and then there's kind of the physical side of things. Like mentally, you'll be in a better state. You'll be clearer, more aware, more present. And then physically, you will recover more quickly, and potentially will burn more calories and lose body fat by taking ice baths on the regular. Now, the data on this is always changing. The research is always changing. Every time something comes out and people say yay, a bunch of people come out and say no. So, you have to believe what your research leads you to believe and what your experimentation leads you to believe. What I will say is that people that do it regularly see the benefits, feel the benefits, and talk about it. I often think just experimentation can be the best form of like proof for yourself, because you'll find one article that says this is amazing. You'll find another article that says this is bad data. And there really is no way of knowing unless you kind of do it yourself. So I'm a big fan of just kind of experimenting on my own body. And I have found in my experience that it's definitely helped me. So I would give it a try, see if it helps you. On the flip side, we have saunas, which is our hot therapy, right? We're creating a hot environment, which again has multiple benefits, both in terms of our body, both physically and mentally. And there's a lot of data that's come out recently on this, particularly in longevity, and interestingly, in the reduction of diseases and kind of like mental decline. On the more basic level, saunas help with relaxation. They help relax our muscles. They help open up our pathways, our aerobic pathways. Helps flush out toxins and help with a healthy immune system. Help with improved blood circulation, which again delivers fresh nutrients, fresh oxygen, all that good stuff. It helps with like stuff like bronchitis, sinusitis, all that kind of thing by just clearing your pathways, your airways. Super helpful. Again, it can help with improving sleep, just because it does relax you, it does calm you, which in turn helps you get a better night's sleep. We talked briefly about mental clarity and cognitive function, helps with that. And again, Peter Attia talks about the shock proteins from heat therapy, which help protect cells from damage, which increases our potential for longevity and our overall health. And he also talks about the benefits to our mitochondrial health. You guys have all heard about mitochondria, the kind of powerhouse of our cells. And it can help with the proper function of that, which is crucial, again, just for our overall health and longevity. Improving the function of our mitochondria and our cellular health improves the potential for our longevity. And taking saunas is one way of doing that. He also talks about the concept of hormesis, and how when we add like little stresses to our lives, and our body has to find a hormesis again, has to kind of find that balance, that process is actually of benefit to us. So by putting these hot, cold stresses on us, is actually helping the body become more resilient, helping the body become tougher, and increase our potential for longevity. So both hot and cold therapy will do that. Now, in terms of timing, people always ask about timing. The data that, as I understand it right now, suggests that you should actually do ice baths first thing before you work out, and take saunas after you work out, potentially in the evening. Again, it may help with sleep. So putting yourself in that relaxation state may be of greater benefit. So taking a sauna later in the day may be a better way of doing it. The ice bath thing, the reason you don't do ice baths directly after working out, and there is a caveat here, is because it will actually, in theory, it will affect your hypertrophic effect. So if you are trying to grow the muscle, having an ice bath after you work out will actually counter that effect. Whereas doing it much later doing it before you work out will help recover, help preparation, help that sensation of alertness and awakening, and potentially give you a better workout without detracting from the hypertrophic effect. Now, what I will say is, if you're working out multiple times in a day, and if your goal is not hypertrophy, if your goal is not bodybuilding or growing the muscle, if your goal is just simply performance, then taking an ice bath directly after working out before your second workout may be of benefit to you. But again, one of those things you just have to kind of try and see if it works for you. I found recently I've been doing, ice baths first thing. And that seems to work for me. I've been I'll be honest, I've been kind of crappy with doing saunas. I do have one at the gym up here. I struggle with the time thing. It would be easier, obviously, if I happen at the house, but I don't. But maybe in the future. But it seems logical to me that doing it later in the day and promoting, kind of relaxation makes absolute sense. So in an ideal world, it would be ice baths in the morning and saunas at night. In terms of how much time in them, I usually spend 3 to 4 minutes in the ice bath. And then in the sauna, kind of 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, it will depend on the temperature. I have an infrared one up here. They don't get as hot as the kind of the electric or steam ones, which I know you can get those kind of up to 185 degrees, 200 degrees sometimes. My one only goes up to like 170 tops. But 15 to 20 minutes is very tolerable. If I could get it hotter, I would. But I also do. I'll also sometimes do hot cold therapy back to back in the mornings, and I'll finish with cold. So I'll go ice bath, hot tub, ice bath, hot tub, ice bath. So I'll finish with cold to get that effect that I'm looking for. But I've also found that to be super beneficial because you get multiple rushes of blood through the body as the body kind of warms up after the cold, and then it gets cold again, gets hot again, gets cold again, gets hot again. So that's been super helpful for me. So all in all, we're trying to create the kind of situation for ourselves that is going to potentiate a more restful, relaxing evening and a better sleep, a better quality of sleep. These are all things that I've kind of incorporated into my day, or as much as I can, as much as possible. Like I said, it's never perfect. I don't want anyone to ever think I live a perfect life, because I absolutely do not. But these are just little things that I have found have helped me deal with stress, deal with anxiety, deal with getting a better quality of sleep, being productive, staying positive, keeping my mind clear, having good cognitive ability. I know it doesn't sound like I do have good cognitive ability, but it's as good as it's going to get. So yeah, give it a try. Like I said, I will put this pack together at Pharos, so you can give it a try, or you can just order it online. There's a company called Revive who make all three of these supplements. You can get it from them. And there'll be multiple companies on Amazon, so have a look, or any good store, probably like any good Whole Foods or Lassen's will have multiple versions of these supplements. They're not hard to get hold of. Like I said, they're all natural. You don't need any prescriptions. They're not banned in any way. So you can pick them up for any good store. So I hope that was helpful. Please reach out if you have any questions. Again, I'll recap just briefly. We've got inositol, we've got magnesium glycinate, we've got L-Theanine. There's the supplements that I'm taking, and then I've got ice baths and I've got sauna, which helps me with again recover, repair, work on my cognitive ability, and just helps live a better life and a better day. So I hope that was helpful. We do have saunas at all of our clubs apart from Redondo, and there will be. We are looking at getting ice baths at the clubs in the near future. So if you haven't been to our clubs, come down, check them out. We have Idlewild, which is at 1316 Glendale Boulevard. We have the one in Redondo on Artesia Boulevard, which is awesome new gym. We have our gym in Idlewild, our little mountain gym. And then we have our new gym opening in Palm Springs in hopefully July. They're all great clubs. This stuff will be available to all of the clubs in the near future. So come check them out, and look forward to seeing you there. You can follow us at Pharos Echo Park, at Pharos Redondo, at Pharos Idlewild, and I'm at Peter Vodden. And always reach out. Love to hear from you guys, and look forward to connecting again soon. Okay, take care. Bye.